Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Small Business Week. It is Friday, the last day of Small Business Week. I can honestly say that an hour ago, I got off of a conference call with President Obama. Not a lot of people can say that. He does a national kind of Small Business Week kind of talk and that type of stuff. So it was very interesting to listen to and kind of some of their missions that they're doing with around small businesses. And it's very interesting. So, yeah. Well, my name is Paul Long, Timberland Bank. We're a 100-year-old community bank here in Tacoma, Pierce, King, Thurston, Lewis, Kitsap, Grays Harbor County. And we are the sponsor of this week's event, and I'm very glad to be here to kind of talk to you guys regarding kind of some tips from a small business lender about small business banking. Really quick on me, kind of my background, and I started a week after my 16th birthday as a bank teller for Wells Fargo Bank. I became a branch manager at age 18. I became a district manager and ran a branch in 8 branches at the age of 21. And after I said, well, okay, I'm moving a little too fast, all what I'm doing is babysitting, because that's what you do when you're in management, is you babysit adults. I said, you know what, my passion is business banking, and I've been doing that ever since, which is it's been about 10 years. So my passion is small business, and just want to kind of share with you some of that stuff today. So first, got to start out with some funnies. Can you help me get a bank loan? You're better at begging than I am. Seems true, right? This one is the truth. We are prepared to make you a loan, but first you have to prove you really don't need it. It is the God-honest truth. And so what I'm going to kind of teach you guys today is some of those things to look for as a business, of what you should be looking for, because you should be getting loans when you need it the least. And that really is the best time to do that. So agenda, we're going to go over what banks look for to approve loans. Some of the loan programs that are out there, and there's a lot out there, and I'm not going to dive into deep details and anything like that, but I want to give you kind of a high level on that. Your books, and talking about your P&L, your balance sheet, those really important things you need to have for your business. What if I get turned down for a loan? That's going to be an important topic. Your banker, of course, and how important of a role that they play in that. And of course, an open forum. But my favorite part of the entire thing is going over real life stories. I'm going to show you some real, you guys are going to be bankers. And you guys are going to tell me if you would approve the loan or if you shouldn't. And so we'll be able to go through that. So what banks look for to approve loans? Whoops, getting all clicky. You guys have heard the C's of credit. You guys ever heard of that? Raise your hand if you heard C's of credit. I know these 3 have. First thing that's the most important is your credit score. It will always come back down to credit score. It is the most important thing. There is a lot of credit repair companies that are out there that are in existence today. One that I have actually seen some great results on from clients is called Lexington Law, lexingtonlaw.com. If you ever do have someone who's having some issues with that, in order to get things removed from their credit. Maybe they had some bad things back in 2009, like most people usually had. Theirs is a great service to really help you get that. You do have to pay for it. It's not free, but they have a very cool online portal that allows you to help that. We've all heard freecreditreport.com commercial and the song and all that. Why do you think they're going to say free credit report, but they're advertising? So are they getting free advertising? No. So they're going to get their money some way. So every year, everyone should be pulling their credit report every year to see what's on it. Okay? It's free. It does not cost you anything, and it's at annualcreditreport.com, not freecreditreport.com. So it's annualcreditreport.com. That is the one that's actually ran by the 3 credit bureaus. They do not give you your score. You do have to pay for that. But definitely annualcreditreport.com will give you all 3 bureaus for absolutely free immediately. Whoops. Go back. Go back. Going over credit scores real quick. So, I actually saw the worst credit score in my 19-year banking career about a year or so ago. And it was actually 418. And I've never seen anything thank you. That means you didn't even get your name right on the credit report, okay? But they can go down to 300, and thank God I've never seen that. Even as a new person that comes out of high school that has no credit, starts here in FAIR. So you have to do a lot of work in order to get it to 300, okay? You have to have goals. That's right. 730 and above, again, they go up to about 850, 860 is somewhere up there. But again, banks like to lend in the good to great, and even in sometimes the fair. The poor, it's a little bit more tough of an adventure there. Next one, capacity and cash flow, and this one's always a battle. Tax returns. A lot of small business owners want to write everything off so they don't have to pay any sort of income tax. It happens, okay? And a good business banker will be able to go in there and kind of add things back that are appropriate. But if you know you're going to be applying for a loan within the next tax year, you need to really analyze and see if you really should be deducting absolutely everything on there. There's this thing called EBITDA. You guys ever heard of that? It's not that table does. It's not an alien from outer space. What EBITDA stands for, and most importantly, why you should care, is interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization, but it's your earnings plus that. This is how banks find out if you can repay a loan or not, okay? So just let's do an example on one here. So, city construction outside of a location for 4 months. So let's give an average. Their bottom line earnings were $10,000. That was their actual profit that the business made according to QuickBooks, okay? If we're going to refinance some debt, we're going to add back any interest that you paid for on that. We're going to add back taxes, because that's something you kind of have to pay already, but it doesn't prove your real earnings. Depreciation, because you never wrote a check for depreciation. It's just something that comes off the taxes. Amortization is a long story that I'm not going to get into. Ask your tax accountant. You'll know what that is. And so let's say, for example, city construction had a one-time loss of $2,000. Maybe they had an employee that stole from them. Okay? A good banker can actually add that back because it was a one-time oops, okay? And so because sometimes that happens, okay? So we can add that back. So they start out with $10,000, but the bank is going to use this number to determine if they're okay and if they can afford the loan. That's what EBITDA is. And it's something I would strongly recommend for you to kind of know within your business. A service that I do offer any clients, whether you bank with me or not, give me your last year's tax return. I will run what we call spreads, which dissects all your information, all your ratios, all of that, and I will sit down with you, go over it with you, and show you how you look to a bank. I do that absolutely free for any clients, prospects, whatever the case is. So let me know if I can help on that. Capital. So, all of you guys probably have cars. Hope so. You got here. Car loans. Most of you probably have car loans. You can go into a car dealership, maybe put down no money, walk away with a car. Okay? In business land, that does not work. Okay? You do need to usually put down some sort of money into that. So again, if you're trying to buy an automobile, sometimes on business side, you need to put down 10 or 20% in order to do that. Okay? On a consumer level, maybe you just can go in there and just get it without any money down. Real estate, depending on the type of real estate that you're looking to buy, anywhere from 10 to 25% down, so we'll lend up to 75 to 80%. And again, this is most banks. Equipment is the same type of thing as real estate, so 10% to 25% down. So there's a really important thing that I want to go over. And if you take away anything from this class, it's this. Never, ever go to a bank, credit union, finance company, I don't care where, and say, how much can you give me? Okay? Or, I don't want to put any money down and I need money. There's the door. Okay? It doesn't work that way. You should have been able to do enough research before you came to the bank to know what you need the money for, and do you have any skin in the game. That's a very important piece. Collateral. This one's my favorite's the picture. Would this person give us this as collateral? Hell yeah, they would, because they are never going to pay back the loan. Okay? So collateral is a really important piece. You need to be able to give something in order to get the money back, especially with businesses. Businesses do have higher risk, and so we do need to have collateral to do that. Other things that we kind of use as collateral at times is accounts receivable. Does everyone know what accounts receivable is? You guys should. So accounts receivable, people that owe you money. We can use that as collateral because it has a turn. We can use that to lend upon. Usually it's about 75% of whatever your accounts receivable are, we can lend to you in that form. Okay? But most banks like hard assets, paid off vehicles, paid off real estate. If you have that, the door is wide open. Okay? If you have, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but if you have a paid off piece of real estate, let's say you have a rental home and it's paid off, okay? Your credit score is maybe 620. It's on the low to poor side. I'm probably going to do something for you because you have a lot to lose because I'm taking that as the collateral. Okay? So keep that in mind. You still have to be able to afford a payment, but keep that in mind. Loan programs. There's a lot of them out there, and I'm going to go over just kind of a real brief overview on this. But first, a real life story. Meet Bob. He is the owner of Rock On Restaurant. Bob has been using credit cards to finance his business for years. His bank told him that he can get a line of credit for his business. Woohoo! You think he's going to take it? Absolutely. It's a restaurant. Bob got a $50,000 line for his business. Bob used $50,000 immediately to buy some equipment for his restaurant. Uh-oh. Bob was making interest-only payments for a year because that's all he had to pay. Bob's line of credit came up for renewal after a year. Bob's line of credit was declined at renewal. Why? Bob's a high risk. The most important piece on this is Bob was using the wrong tool to finance what he was wanting to do. Okay? What he really needed was a term loan that he was going to make payments on and pay it off. Okay? So what the bank ended up doing on this is said, well, you didn't use your line right, so we're going to cut it off, but we're going to turn that line that you used into a 5-year term loan, and it's paid off in 5 years. Okay? Do you think he was real happy? But I also put some blame on the banker for making sure that that line was used properly up front. It's a big key. So again, lines of credit, they have variable payments, which is pretty sexy because you only use what you need to use. Variable interest rates usually, and there's usually a renewal period of a year or two. They're made for short-term needs. Working capital. Again, will I pay this off in 30 to 90 days? If the answer is yes, put it on your line. If the answer is no, go back to your banker and say, I need a term loan. Term loan, fixed payments, fixed rates, fixed terms, just like an auto loan. Here's your money for that purpose. Go do it. Long-term needs, equipment, vehicles, real estate. You're not going to put a real estate on a credit card. It may sound stupid. There's some people out there. Look at home equity lines back in 2009. That's what happened. Okay? So those are kind of the traditional lending products. So there's also some non-traditional products out there. Banks get scared of startups. We really get worried about startups. Banks worry about businesses under 2 years in business. You're new, you're scary, what's your background? You know, we worry about that. Banks don't like projected income because what are projections? Guesses. Bullshit statements. Sorry, they are, okay? Yeah, I'll make $1 million next year. You count on it. Not likely, okay? But there is a solution called SBA. And you guys have heard of SBA loans, but what SBA loans do is this. SBA does not give you, the business, the money. They protect the bank's